Yo, what's going on, everybody? Today we have a special guest, Jake Jellison from Top Tactic Fishing. I hope you guys have some good questions for him, and we'll bring him in, see how he's doing. Hey, Jake, how's it going?
Hey Josh, how you doing, man? Pretty good. How are you?
Staying warm. The weather's pretty nice up here now this time of year, so waiting for my first trip out. I know you've been catching a lot of nice fish, it looks like, so
A lot of nice fish. Usually, I do a lot of my fishing for carp in Delaware, even though I live in
yeah.
Pennsylvania, but I work in Delaware, so I can get in Delaware in like 20 minutes. So, but yeah, my main area where I fish is the Brandywine Creek in Delaware, and it usually heats up this time of the year. So
Yeah.
it's I guess I've been on a hot streak lately. I actually I actually went to a new place yesterday um, in Delaware, and I caught two mirrors back to back, and that was the only two carp I caught.
Yeah.
It
I
was
saw the
like,
pictures, man. They were
yeah,
beautiful.
it was like I was so like I was shocked. I was like, you've got to be kidding me because they're just rare, and at least in my area they are. You just don't see a lot of that.
Yeah. Were they over 20 pounds or no? They look pretty good size in the picture.
Yeah, I really don't get weights on my fish anymore. So I really just try to get them back in the water as quickly as I can. I will get a length though, because most states kind of have their citation program for like anglers, where if you meet like a certain catch and release length,
Yeah.
you'll get like a nice like patch or certificate or whatever the state has for you. So I kind of focus more on the length. And that one chunky one that I got was actually pushing 20 pounds. So
Nice.
it wasn't like it wasn't like that long. It was just kind of more of like a football shaped. It just had a really big belly to it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they look pretty good size. I saw your one video you released today. I watched some of that. And it looked like a
yeah,
couple of those were pretty good size as well.
yep. So I that's another he's a friend, he's a physician. He follows my channel, and we've been trying to get together for the longest time. Both being healthcare providers, it's hard to kind of have a time off, on the same day. But yeah, we did really well. And what's interesting is that like I do a lot of tidal carp fishing, so it's all based on like the tides, and with the carp, it's like hit and miss. It'll be really good action for a certain part of the tide for like 2 hours, and then it'll just be dead for the next 5 hours. And then when the tide switches again, they'll start feeding again, and then it'll just be dead. You kind of get these hot and cold spells. So it's not
Yeah.
uncommon to catch like 12 carp in like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be pretty chaotic actually. So it's almost like, oh, I just need to only have one rod out right now, because it's just like they're just like in there at that time. So
When the tide goes down for you, it looks like walking out there to net a fish.
oh my
It's pretty
gosh,
rough.
yeah, it's like a mud pit, no joke. And I've told myself, I'm like, I need to get like some rope and like tie it off, put a stake in the ground, and then just bring the rope all the way down to where where the water is essentially. And that way, because once you land the fish, if you have like a 30-pound fish, you're not going to be able to get back up with that,
Yeah.
being stuck in the mud. You're just kind of like, yeah, I got like a 30-pound fish like literally in my hands, and I can't really move, so it's kind of nice to actually be there with somebody.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
I'd,
it looks like
I'd
we
imagine if you get stuck in that mud, I mean, like I said, it looks pretty rough. It really does.
yeah, I fished there so many times now that I've kind of figured out where the more better areas are when the tide
Yeah.
is low. So yeah, I've kind of had my fair share of, you know, trying to get out of it for like at least like a good 5 minutes or
Yeah.
so, like where I'm like, okay, what can we do? It's like one step at
Yeah.
a time, and but
Have you ever lost a shoe out there?
never lost a shoe. But shoes have come off though. I always make sure when the shoe comes out, I was like, I need to pick my shoe up, because like I'm not walking in my socks, and there's
Yeah.
probably nails out there just like other lures, and you just don't want to like
Yeah.
step on
Yeah.
something. Actually, it was kind of unfortunate during my last CAG event. This was like the year before COVID. Somebody actually did step on a nail and had to go to the
Ooh.
hospital. I mean, they were fine and everything. We just had to get like antibiotics. But
Yeah.
yeah, so now I really pay attention where I step, when the tide is low, because that's when all the stuff kind of gets brushed up. So,
So Jake, what's your PB carp? Do you know, or
um, I think it's like 31.5,
oh, that's a
31.5.
nice fish. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't catch a lot. I wish I can catch more 30s, obviously. I catch a lot of 20s. I've only caught maybe like a handful of 30 plus, but like 20s I catch a fair amount of. So like right now during this time of the year, it's not uncommon to catch like any carp over 20 pounds. But getting that 30 though can be a little bit tough. Now they are in there. But yeah, 31.5 is my PB common carp, and then 28 pounds for a mirror.
Nice.
Yeah.
I know I watched a video where you had a koi on or something one time,
Oh
and it
man,
come off.
yeah.
Have you caught the elusive koi yet, or no?
No, and that was in
Not yet.
Philadelphia. That was on the Schuylkill River. It wasn't even in Delaware. It was like I think it was a very early morning session, and it was during the summertime. I didn't get a chance to take a good look at him, but he was definitely like orange and black.
Yeah.
So had it was like, oh, this was like your like battle buddy koi. It was like looked like it was kind of roughed up a little bit, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh man, did he like? And he was small, maybe like 6-7 pounds, but
Still.
it was just as I was trying to net him. Maybe I got a little aggressive with my rod. So I lifted the rod tip up because you have to lift that rod tip up to kind of scoop under him, and that's when he
Yeah.
kind of unbuckled, and I was like, oh man, yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen him back since though. I'm sure he's probably around there somewhere. So maybe
Oh
I'll try
yeah.
to maybe I'll get lucky this year and maybe he'll come back.
I know. I like to fish park lakes a lot because you just never know what's in some of them. And I've caught some really cool koi and goldfish and things like that
Yeah.
for carp. So
Yeah. I
uh,
know a couple the the creek where I actually get my bait has a nice orange wild koi in there. And
yeah,
there's a lake that I go to that also has koi. I just haven't been able to get one
yeah.
yet, but time I probably will, I'm sure. So
Um, P City catfishing, or wait, P City Smitty catfishing wants to know what your PB flathead is.
P City Smitty, yeah, we've actually become, more close lately, but great guy, has a great channel now too. Catches really big catfish. But my PB was 36 pounds and it came on his boat.
Oh, nice.
And this was last September. It was in the fall. And he's been a subscriber to my channel for quite some time. And we've been trying to like link up and get together and fish. And we finally made it work. But yeah, it was great because it was my PD flathead came on his boat, and we were both super stoked. And so since then, I actually got a boat now.
Oh, nice,
Yeah,
nice.
I got a boat like a month and a half ago, and he's actually been doing a lot of the handiwork on my boat too, and getting everything set up for me. I'm pretty naive when it comes to this stuff, but so I'm hoping to do a lot of carp fishing from the boat as well as catfish, and I kind of want to bring a new way of fishing for carp from a boat because you don't see a lot of that. But it seems like it can be very easy to do actually. So
Yeah,
so that's one thing I plan on doing more this year is catching carp from the boat.
yeah. Big Muddy Fishing says that he loves your videos, loves your interaction with your kids and stuff when they fish with you, and he wanted to know what rig you would recommend a beginner to use who can't afford the specialized carp gear.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate it, Big Money. Really do appreciate that. I appreciate all your support. Yeah, the kids are always fun to fish with. Sometimes it's, I have to do a lot of editing because there's a lot of stuff that can go on behind the camera where it's
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, they'll knock your camera over or they'll like
Oh
spill out your
yeah.
pack bait. I mean, they're kids, they're just eager, they're excited, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But um, yeah, so I guess to answer your question, if you don't want to use carp gear, and Josh, you can probably kind of allude to this as well. Um, you don't need to use like a carp method feeder to put pack bait on there. You can just use like a regular bank sinker to act as like your method feeder. You can easily just put pack bait onto like any kind of like bank sinker to to act as your method feeder. And then I would just use um, 10 to 15 pound monofilament line. And you can just use a number 6 J hook or kale hook even um, to use for your to catch your carp. And then I would just use like 2 or 3 pieces of corn. I've hooked 20-pound carp just using that technique actually. Now when I go to like smaller creeks, and this would probably be good for beginners as well. Smaller creeks, you really don't need to use a method feeder. I would just put 2 pieces of corn on a hook and maybe like a couple split shots where it can just hit the bottom, and you can just throw out, a couple handfuls of corn. And that's really all you really need to do. That'll also bring in the carp as well. So that's probably the more cost effective way of catching a carp. That's actually how I caught my first carp, was doing
Yeah.
that. Small creek. I knew they were there, and I just put 2 pieces of Del Monte canned corn. Just put 2 pieces on a number 6 J hook, and then I maybe had like maybe not even a quarter of an ounce of a weight egg sinker on there. I just let it hit bottom, and I just waited about like 45 minutes, and there it was.
Yeah.
So that's
And
really all I had.
like me, I don't even use method leads. I actually pack
Yeah,
my bait around the hook itself.
yeah, yep.
So
And you can do that. And like I've
yeah,
known people and you don't have to have a hook bait even on your hook. The carp are attracted more to the pack bait than actually what's
yeah.
on your hook bait, if that makes sense. So because the carp are so,
Amen. Yes, I agree
yeah,
with that.
they're just gonna be munching on that pack bait, and then your
Yeah,
hook will just be in the middle of that pack bait. It's just bound to happen where they're just gonna
yeah,
get lipped with that hook.
yeah.
So
That's how
that's
I
gonna make
feel
a great.
about it
That'll actually
too.
make a great video. I'm actually gonna probably do that at some point. Catching a carp without any hook bait or
Yeah,
something. I thought about that would be pretty neat because it does work. It does work.
yeah. I don't have any of them with me, but I typically use a plastic bead on my hook
Hmm.
and pack my bait around it. And sometimes I'll put a kicks on the end of it where it stands the hook up on its eye and then it right in the middle. But a lot of people believe it's in the hook bait. For me, I believe it's just the pack bait that gets them
Yeah,
in. And
it
I
is.
don't think they can
Yeah,
differentiate the hook bait from the pack bait when they're smacking at it myself. But
yeah.
I'm not a rocket scientist, so I really don't know.
Right, right. No, I agree. It's just like, I know some people like to get really fancy
Yeah,
with their method, mixed baits and all that stuff, pack bait. I'm just like, well, I mean, yeah, you can do all of that, but it's just like, all you really need, you can just put, Quaker oats and then just cream style corn and just mix it. And then there you go. That's
yeah,
really all
that's a
you
good
need.
bait. Yeah,
It's a good
that's a
bait. Yeah,
great bait.
exactly. Yep. Does the work. It does the job.
Have you ever thought about going down to Del Hollow or anything?
Yeah, because Joe lives in Tennessee. My brother Joe lives in Tennessee,
Oh
and
yeah, so you're probably over by it
um,
all the time then.
but I think he's like 2.5 hours away from there. And
Yeah,
I've told him in the past, I was like, yeah, whenever I come see you again, we should maybe try to stay in Dale, maybe visit Dale Hollow for a few days because
yeah,
it's one of those places you just can't stay there for a day. You kind of need to stay there for a few
yeah,
days, camp out. But
yeah,
but yeah, that would. I was actually going to go there. This is before COVID. I was going to go there 2 years ago with some linear because I was part of Linear Bait. That was I was a team member for them, and a lot of us were going to be going, but it ended up not working because of COVID. This was actually last April when it was going to happen, and then
Yeah.
COVID happened, and then I got deployed, and and I was up in New York for a while, still fishing though.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah. Seemed like a
I was
blast.
still fishing. Central Park was amazing, man. It was. Yeah, I felt like I kind of woke that place up because now everyone's fishing for carp there.
Yeah.
So,
It looked like you had, I mean, I was having a blast watching. So,
yeah,
any big ones? I don't remember if you caught any, over 20
there
pounds
weren't
or not,
giant.
but
The biggest one I caught was maybe like upper teens. There's not
okay.
many giants in there, but there was some. I caught like a linear mirror carp that was
Yeah.
pretty nice. A couple other mirrors, but I mean, it was just there's just a lot of small ones in there, which is fine. It was still fun, and
Yeah.
um, yeah, I was just happy to someone was able. I'm just glad that my wife was able to mail me fishing stuff, and that's what I did on my days
Yeah.
off, and
Yeah.
um, so
I didn't even know you could fish in Central Park, to be honest with you. So that's pretty
yeah,
cool. I mean,
what's interesting too is that you can't use any kind of lead bank sinkers there because they say it's not
okay.
good for the fishery there. Luckily,
Yeah.
the method feeders I had were like the Corda ones, which are more
Okay.
made out of aluminum. They kind of have that special coating on there, so I was okay,
Yeah.
to use
Yeah.
those method feeders. But they had signs and everything in there. But
Yeah.
I had a lot of. It was actually it was more than just the fishing though. It didn't seem like you were in Central Park because usually Central Park it's very very crowded. There's people on paddle boats on the water. It's really hard to actually kind of find open access, especially when you're fishing for carp. But the people that were there, um, they were they've been locked in their apartments and houses for the last like month or month and a half, and then
Yeah.
and then they would come up and be like, oh, it's good to see somebody here fishing, and then I'll let them
Yeah.
take a turn catching a fish. I even had like a little boy come up and I even had him like reeling a fish. It was kind of more than just like me catching fish. It was almost like I felt like people were just so like stuck in their houses and they're like, oh, I need to like do something, and just so it was you
Yeah.
know good to kind of
Yeah.
see that.
That's awesome. I love letting people, that really don't fish real fish in too. That's kind of a blast for them, especially a carp, because you know how big a carp can be. And even a 5 pounder to a lot of people is like, the biggest fish they'll ever catch in their life for some
Sure.
people. So
Yeah.
can really make their day.
And that's how you
Um,
get hooked, That's how you get
oh,
hooked,
yeah.
It's like when you catch that first carp, you're like, man, that was like, it gives you a run for your money, And
Oh, for sure.
yeah, they really
Yeah.
run.
Big Muddy Fishing, I don't know if he was talking to you or me, but he says, do you have merchandise we can buy? So if you have any merchandise, you might
I
let him know and
actually,
let him know how
I
to do it.
actually, I actually do have t-shirts. I have t-shirts. I have long sleeve shirts. I've been meaning to actually open up like a little merchandise store, either on Facebook or something, and um, start selling some of those stuff. So it'll be up really soon. But yeah, the long sleeve shirts will probably go like 15. The t-shirts will probably go 12. I have stickers too, and um, so it should be. I'm gonna try to maybe get it up within the next couple weeks here.
Okay, cool. Well, guys, keep an
Yeah.
eye out for that. And if you haven't, I did put a link to his channel in the description, and I pinned it in the comments here. So make sure you guys check it out. I know he's getting close to what 3,000 subs, I think. So
Yeah,
hit that sub button
28,
over there.
yeah, 28, yeah, 2,800 right now, 2,850. Yeah.
Yeah,
Slow but steady, it's with me, it's like I just make it a hobby, whatever happens with the channel, it happens, I don't, have, goals or anything like that. I just kind
yeah.
of do it just for fun.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Yeah, that's like me. I highly doubt I'm ever famous, but hey, if I go
never
viral,
know. You
I
never
wouldn't hate
know.
it. You know what I'm saying? So,
It just takes
uh,
one video to go viral. It's just, it takes, you just never know which video that's going to be.
that's what they say anyway. But I don't know. I don't have any of them that are viral, so
Right,
all
right,
little ones for me. But
right.
that brings me to this. I know we were talking about it earlier. If you guys haven't watched anything on his channel, he has an awesome video of getting stung by a stingray.
Haha.
So, I mean, you can really see it go in and everything, guys. So, Jake, I mean, do you want to tell us how bad that hurt
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
like
So
that?
this was maybe like 2017 or 2016. I was in San Diego. I was at my wife's cousin's wedding in San Diego. And I went to this pier. I was with my father-in-law, and we were I was just hoping to catch anything. So I was using a sabiki rig. I'm not sure if you're familiar with those kind of
I
rigs.
do not. Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
like you have it's like a 12-inch leader line, and it has very small hooks on there. It's almost like a bait rig. It's made to catch like bait fish. And
Okay.
that's pretty much what I was using. So the hook size is very, very small. It's even smaller than a number 8 hook that you would
Wow.
use for
Yeah.
like carp. It's probably like a number 10 or 12. So I was putting like tiny pieces of like cut squid on each of these hooks, and there was like 6 hooks on there. So I just casted it out, let it hit bottom, and I was like, "Oh wow, I actually got something." I was maybe thinking it was maybe just like a small pinfish or whatever, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh no, this is a stingray." I was like, "Ah, baby stingray," and so I got him up over the pier. Um, I didn't know I had my GoPro on, but it was running. So I got the stingray over the pier, the ledge there, and um, so of course all those other 5 hooks were like tangled in its body. So I was
Yeah.
trying to be the good Samaritan fisherman and trying to get all of the hooks out of it so I can release it back into the water.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm very naive. I'm like, oh yeah, I know its stinger's there. I'll be fine, whatever. In fact, I even put pliers on its tail in the video so I can kind of work getting these hooks out.
Yeah.
Um, and I did. By the time I got all of the hooks out, my hand was just still near its body, and its tail like whipped me right in between my that muscle there between your thumb and index finger. It was like
Yeah.
right here, and the pain, it just felt more like a sting at first. You're like, oh, okay, all right. So then I just kind of we released it back into the water. I actually ended up fishing for another 5 to 10 minutes, and during that time, the pain was just getting a lot worse. It was sharp. It was stinging. The pain was actually starting to move up my arm into my chest. And I was like, that's when I knew. I was like, yeah, I should probably go somewhere for this. And so luckily there was an urgent care that was like 500 yards away. I was able to walk there. And so
Yeah.
right when I walk in, I'm like, oh, I got stung by a stingray. And by this time I was like literally wrenching in pain. I was like holding on to like I was like squeezing my wrist because the pain was that bad. Um,
Wow.
and he was like, "Oh, we got the first one." I was like, "First one?" He's like, "Yeah, during the summertime, we get like 20 stingray stings like a week from like surfers, people fishing, whatever it is." And so he's like, "What you do is you have to put your hot water over it, as hot as you can
Yeah.
bear it. And that's what kills the toxin."
Okay. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, like I
good
said,
story.
you got me scared of even attempting to take one off the hook. So if I ever do any fishing down south, I don't think I'll be
Yeah,
attempting it myself. But
it was really quick. That sting was. It was almost just like what just happened. It was like,
yeah,
oh, I got stung.
yeah,
It was really interesting. But after the 2 hours of the hot water, yeah, the pain was gone. They did like an X-ray to make sure the stinger wasn't like lodged in there, and they gave me like an antibiotic just because it's the ocean and it's dirty. They just want to make sure
Yeah.
nothing, no bacteria got inside, but no stitches or anything like that were needed.
Well, we'll show it on stream here.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, it's
Now I know you talked about we talked about viral. And see, that's the kind of stuff that goes viral too, though. That's pretty awesome. I mean,
yeah,
600,000
I
views.
thought it would
That's
make a great video. I was actually kind of
yeah,
when I got home and like when I was like, oh no, I actually got footage of it. And then once I saw the sting, I was like, wow, this is pretty good. I might as well just put it on YouTube and see
yeah,
what happens. And now I got over like I think it's like over 600,000. It'll probably reach a million, probably.
yeah. That's awesome.
It'll easily reach over a million at some point.
Yeah,
So
I
the way
wanted
it's
to thrill
going,
myself, so
yeah,
we'll play it on here and should have
yeah.
some sound too to go with it.
Guys, this is all before I was really into fishing, so don't judge me.
No judgment here, man.
No, I think this is a on the bat rays. Oh, he's hooked on its tail too. Let me see if I can.
Well, they got a weird mouth, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so all those hooks were wrapped around him, but that one was in its mouth, and the mouth is, yep, so I got it.
Yeah. Yeah, I see its tail kind of smacking around a little
Oh,
bit.
yeah. See,
I
then
don't know if this one has a stinger or not on it.
You're like
Yes,
little fella,
yeah.
and he's like, I'm about to hit you, buddy.
Yeah. But it's interesting though, because like there's some stingrays don't have stingers on them. Like they just like the barbs like fall off or yeah.
Playing it smart there. I mean, you got the pliers on its tail, so yeah, I wouldn't have been that smart. I would have got stung a long time ago, probably.
Yeah, see, this is my mistakes. I don't know what I was doing here.
Oh,
It was just like
Jeez, he did sting me. Yeah. Did it catch you? Yeah.
I know you got some slow motion, I think, of it too.
yeah, I even slow motion there so you can kind of yeah. I just had to move my knee off to the right a little bit more. Would have been a little bit better, but yep.
Ooh. Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch on that one.
But I left some helpful advice at the end. I was like, if this ever happens, just put hot water in there. Learn from my mistake.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
So
definitely looked rough. What about jellyfish? You ever been stung by a jellyfish? Then I've never.
no, but I've been
seen one,
close
so.
actually. And sometimes you don't even know they're even near you when you're in the water. You're like, oh wow, there's one right there.
Yeah.
Gotta move away from that.
I didn't know there were freshwater jellyfish.
Yeah, there are. Yeah.
I guess they're really
there's probably
small.
some in there's probably because I live near the Chesapeake Bay and that's like brackish and there's jellyfish in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that till the other day. Somebody was telling me. I guess they're really small and all that good stuff. So you're doing a CAG social coming up here soon as well, I believe, aren't you?
Yep. For those who may not, so for those who may not know, CAG is the Carp Anglers Group. It's probably, would you say it's probably the biggest carp social community up on in Facebook but anyway, so like I'm actually the Delaware state chair, so each state kind of has their own CAG representative, and I'm Delaware state chair. So pretty much what my responsibility is, we have to hold at least one social a year. Two would be ideal. Of course, we didn't do one last year because of COVID, so I'm only going to do one this year just because we're still in a pandemic. But my CAG event's going to be May 22nd. It's a Saturday. It's going to be 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. It's going to be in my neck of the woods on the Brandywine Creek in Delaware. For those who watch my videos, a lot of my videos are in Brandywine Creek, so it's a really good fishery for carp. Anybody can come. So since we are still in a pandemic, you still have to wear a mask just because Delaware law, the state law is you have to wear a mask. So I have to abide by that, but it'll be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. I had one 2 years ago, and biggest carp was like 34 pounds. There was a nice looking mirror that somebody caught. It's fun. I'm going to have prizes as well. I'm going to have prizes for the most carp caught and the biggest carp caught, as well as a little petty award for the most catfish caught. We're also going to do
there'll be a lot of those caught too. So.
We're going to have a petty award as well for the catfish, because there's a lot of, as you know, Josh, when you catch carp, you're going to catch a lot of catfish along the way as well. So
you might catch more of them sometimes.
Exactly. So. Yeah, that's happened lots of times. There's times where I'll fish for, I'll catch like 3 carp, and then you catch like 10 catfish. You're like, well, that's just how it is. But I've kind of learned a little bit like what the catfish like more and what the carp like more. So like I don't catch nearly as much catfish as I used to. Like boilies, the catfish tend to love the boilies a lot. So I kind of cut back on using the boilies, and I kind of use more tiger nuts, fake corn, that kind of stuff. And that's it's helped a little bit, but catfish will still go after them.
Oh yeah. They'll hit about anything.
They'll hit anything, like you said, anything.
Have you thought about live streaming that? That might be a good live.
You know what? Yeah, I was actually going to do it 2 weekends ago, but there was like a catfish live tournament with like Steve Douglas, Has Life.
Oh yeah.
There was like some fundraiser thing. I was like, we'll just do it another time. But that's something I want to do this year, is do some live streams when I'm carp fishing. That way you can kind of see how chaotic it can really be. Because what I was telling Josh earlier, that I do a lot of tidal carp fishing, so the bite can really be on fire for 2 hours, and it won't be uncommon to catch 10 or so carp within like an hour and a half, and then it'll be dead for the next like 4 hours until the tide has to like switch, and then it'll pick up again. So it's interesting how the carp are like that, especially with the tides. So I may not be able to talk to you during the live stream. I'll just be busy catching fish and releasing them and catching fish. It'll just be like a show, like an actual, like you're watching like one of my regular videos.
That'd be pretty awesome. I mean, I'd tune in and watch it for sure. So
yeah, and you still do yours too, Josh, right? You still do a lot of your live stream stuff.
Yeah, I will. Like I said, I haven't been out to fish yet. We just kind of thawed out a couple weeks ago up here, and I've just been down. I've had a few injuries and stuff, and just been kind of down and haven't been able to. But my casting arm's feeling better now. So
did you hurt your left arm? Is that what it was?
No, I thought I pulled. Like my wife, she works at the hospital, and I don't like to go to doctors and stuff like that. But I don't know what happened, but I pulled a muscle kind of up here, and she thought I dislocated a rib because it was kind of sticking out. But I'm feeling better now. I've got a Great Dane that's like 150 pounds, and she took off on the leash. There was
that's
it hit. It yanked me pretty good.
Yeah.
I couldn't hardly lift my arm up over my head there for a little bit.
Yeah.
I breathed, it would hurt and stuff, but I feel good now, so I'm ready to get out there and try to catch a fish.
Yeah.
So, let's see here. Let me see if we got any questions in here. Todd said there's some freshwater shrimp too. I don't know anything about shrimp. I don't eat those. So
freshwater shrimp. Todd? Are you talking about in like my area in the Delaware, or? just in general.
Yeah, we'll see if he chimes back in. I know somebody was talking about P City was talking about how Chat Cats is that's your brother, and I don't know. Are you? Is that really your brother, or are you the same person with two different channels?
Yeah, Joe. Joe's my identical twin brother. It's me and Joe are just, he's the closest thing to me. We talk every day. He lives in
Yeah,
Tennessee. I live in Pennsylvania, but we still happen to at least talk like every day, even if it's just to
yeah,
crack a joke or something. But
yeah,
I remember when Joe first got his channel started and everything like that. And I really wasn't into like YouTube or anything at the time. And his channel actually kind of launched when he came to Philadelphia to see me, and we all fished with Leo Shang. I'm not sure if you ever heard of Extreme Philly
yeah.
Fishing.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
we fished with him. Leo maybe only had like 1,000 subs at the time.
yeah. He's
But
up there now.
Now, yeah, I think he has like over
Hmm.
100,000. I
Yeah,
think he's close to 200,000. But um, so when Joe started, so once we all kind of got together, I think that helped Joe's channel out too.
yeah,
So, but yeah, so he's really into his guiding now. He does a lot of guiding on the Tennessee River.
yeah.
Does a lot of catfish, of course. He does a little bit crappie now too, which was relatively new for him.
Well, I saw you got
So
him into some carp fishing too. So
yeah, I tried. Yeah, I mailed him some stuff. I was like, hey, this
yeah,
is what you need to do, and yeah, I think his biggest one is maybe like pushing 20 pounds. The stuff I gave him, and
yeah,
I tell him I was like, yeah, try to maybe when you bring your clients out, maybe just have one rod for carp, just to kind of play around. Maybe you'll get lucky and find an area where they're kind of hanging out, and
yeah.
so. Yeah, you
He
don't see a
might
lot of
be.
people. Don't see a lot of people guiding for carp. So
You know, I had Sean Manning on, and
mm,
he was. We were talking
yeah,
about the American Carp Society. I guess
sure,
on the website there, it has people that you can choose to do some guiding or whatever for carp fishing. So which is cool. But yeah, it's kind of unheard of in my area. I mean,
yeah,
with yours too, they're probably considered a trash fish by a wide range of people that know nothing about carp
yeah,
to begin with.
yeah.
So
They're a lot of fun because I feel like with carp, like if you're just going for catfish, let's see, catfish like channel catfish, like most of the channels you catch are going to be anywhere between like half a pound to maybe like 5 pounds. 5 pounds is
yeah.
considered a decent channel in my area. With a
Oh
carp,
yeah, yeah,
your small carp, the average size of a carp is like in the double digits.
yeah,
10 to 15 pounds. It's just like it's really easy to catch a 10 to 15 pound carp. It's easier to do that than catch like a 6 or 7 pound channel.
yeah, for sure.
So I
I
mean,
love carp fishing myself. I mean,
they're a lot of fun. They just run a lot. They actually make great bait though too for catfish.
a lot of
Blue,
people use them. I
yeah.
never have, but I know a lot of people do
I,
use
I
them for
thought about
carp
using
fishing.
carp as bait. I just catch bigger carp. I
Yeah,
just haven't like caught like a lot of like small ones. But I told myself I was like, if I catch one that's like 5 to 7 pounds, that's a good size where you can actually use it as bait.
come
That can.
over here to Indiana, and I'll get you set up with some 5 pounders.
Yeah, right.
So,
Yeah,
there's a local
yeah,
park pond that used to have. It used to be loaded with 20s and mid 20s in it, but like the little dam thing they had to drain the pond, and so all the big fish died. But it's got fish in it. I mean, I kid you not, they're like tons of carp. They're about this big.
oh man,
They're
that'd be
real
good for
pretty
an aquarium.
mirrors. Oh, I need to get one for my son's aquarium, but yeah, they're beautiful little fish, but
Yeah,
they're just carp. The way I understand it is they kind of once their population is established, they kind of come to a halt, and they don't really overpopulate at that point. The way I understand it, but again, I'm not a rocket scientist, just from what I've read. And then
sure.
if something threatens their population, then they will literally let all their eggs hatch in hopes to keep their population up. So what happened up there, it's kind of unfortunate because all the big ones kind of died. And I
Oh,
mean,
really?
there's millions, well, probably hundreds of thousands, and there's not enough food to sustain that many fish in there for them to grow. So
Do you fish the river mainly, Josh, or do you fish more
no,
like
I fish
ponds?
lakes,
Yeah.
and like I said, I like to fish a lot of different kind of parks. I kind of make that a thing to do just because you never know what's in them. I mean, I've caught some cool grass carp.
Oh yeah, grass carp are a lot of fun too. Yeah, they're interesting fish for sure.
They are. Do you have a lot of grass carp in the river that you fish, or don't have many?
There's probably a few, I'm sure, but I've never heard of anybody pulling a grass carp out. They're
Yeah.
usually just kind of stocked in like private ponds and stuff like that. And I do have a couple videos where I was on a layover. This was January of 2020. I was in a layover in Miami for like 12 hours, Miami,
Yeah.
Florida. And I'm like, gosh, what can I do for, gosh, I got the whole day. Like, what can I do? I was like, oh, we're going fishing. So I actually had a travel rod with me, and I rented a truck. And when I was at the airport, went to a Dick's Sporting Goods, bought a very cheap net, got a couple things that would be good for grass carp, and I just got some bread. And I'm not sure if you heard of Monster Mike Fishing
Oh yeah.
or Brian the CEO. I reached out to Brian the CEO. He got back to me, which I was like, oh wow, he got back to me. What are the odds of
Yeah.
that? And he was able to kind of point me in the right direction where I can catch some grass carp. And yeah, I caught like 3 grass carp in my when I was at my layover in Miami, just free
Yeah.
lining bread. And I think the biggest one was maybe like 25 pounds, 20. I never got a weight on it. I didn't have a scale, but I'm just
Yeah.
holding. I was like, this has to be like mid 20s. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, they're a lot of fun, especially on light tackle too.
Yeah. And you said that was in Florida, right?
I was in the canals, yeah, in Miami,
Yeah.
Florida. Yeah.
Because see, you never see anybody fishing for common carp in Florida. At least I don't in videos. But I have a sub here. His name is 334 Outdoors, and I think he lives in Florida and he catches a lot of common carp. So they
Yeah.
are down there, but I guess it's just certain parts of Florida that have
Yeah, I
them.
was gonna ask him because like I was looking to I don't know if there's commons in the canals though. 'Cause, I mean that's what I heard it was just grass carp. Maybe there is. Maybe
Yeah.
334 outdoors can maybe say if there. I'm curious to see if there are any common carp that far down. But from what I was told, I heard it's just grass carp in the canals, and
Yeah.
they stocked them in there specifically because there's so much algae and plants down in the canals. It was plugging up the like pipes and everything,
Yeah.
and the grass carp just eat everything. So they just specifically put them in there to kind of clean it all up.
Yeah. I
So
know.
North Florida, only 3 places to catch them. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, and I heard Northern Florida has them.
Yeah. I know. Around where I'm at, they're stocked by the DNR and stuff like that, and then private ponds. A lot of people stock them, but some of the rivers around me as well. I don't know how they got there, but they can actually breed. Like the ones that are stocked in private ponds and the ones by the DNR, they're sterilized where they can't breed. Um,
Yeah,
but the ones that can, they got here illegally somehow, and they take over. They're a grass carp's kind of like an Asian carp as far as
yeah,
taking over. If it's not where it can't breed. So.
right,
But
right.
they're fun to catch. They smell terrible. They're very slimy.
Yeah,
um,
right. Yeah, they are very
man,
slimy. Yeah, I had no
I
landing
like
mat
to
or
catch them.
anything I had no landing mat when I was in Florida. I just had my net, and I just had to put on the grass. I'm like, oh man, this thing is so slimy. It's like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. The ones I've caught, they don't really fight until they get next to the bank, and then they go
yeah,
crazy. So some of the small ones didn't really fight at all, but some of the bigger ones did.
Right.
So what's your PB blue cat? I know you have. Do you have a PB blue as well? I know you do a lot of
PB
different
Blue.
species fishing.
PB Blue is 41 pounds, and that was on Joe's boat. That was a couple years ago. We were night fishing um, on his boat, and we kind of parked in front of like a barge spot. And we were only like in 7 feet of water, and there was a 42-pound blue in there. But the
Yeah.
current was kind of ripping too. The current was maybe like 60,000 CFS, which is pretty decent current. So that's probably why it was only in 6 feet of water, I'm guessing, because the current was ripping and it was kind of more hugging towards the bank. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I mean, I was with Joe last November, and we were actually fishing in almost 70,000 CFS, and like, gosh, even those 15-pound blues, it seemed like you're pulling in like 40-pound fish. Just that current really puts a lot of weight on that fish. It was,
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
yeah,
And
but
that's
41
like
pounds.
river fish. River fish, like the carp you catch, are probably pretty tough fighters as
Oh
well.
yeah,
Because they
oh
got
yeah.
that current, they
Like
battle. And,
like that initial pull up, I'm like, I can't tell if this is I can't tell if this is a 30-pound carp or if this is like a 15-pound carp. It's just like
yeah,
they all feel really, really heavy at first too. I don't know if it's just the structure that I'm fishing. And then I've had fish that like halfway through, I'm like, oh, this is a really good one. This has to be like 25, 26. And when you see
yeah,
it, you're like, oh no, this is only like 18 pounds.
yeah,
So they fight really good. Especially even the teens tend to the teen size fish really can give you a run for your money. They're a mix between pull and like endurance. They'll
yeah,
pull, but they'll also run a lot.
yeah. I know. We have a place around me that's called Summit Lake, and it's a pretty good sized lake with really clear water. And for some reason, I mean, when you catch a 10 to 20 pounder out of there, like, say you haven't fished it for a year and then you go back and you hook one, you forget how strong they are up there because they're like
Yeah,
15 pounder up there. You're like, oh my God, this has got to be a 30-pound fish. It just pulls you every which way. And then you
yeah.
get in, you're like, what the heck? That thing's only 15 pounds
I know.
or
It's like,
12
wait,
pounds even.
it's like, is my scale right? Is my
Yeah.
scale right? Is it really only like
Yeah.
14
I like
pounds?
to. I like to take my uncle up there because he gets all worked up, and when he gets
Yeah.
one on, he's like, "It's a hog, boys! I can't turn him." So that's why I take him to fish, just because it's
Yeah, right,
hilarious.
right.
So,
Yeah.
um,
But it's funny because I know we were kind of talking before we started the stream, but like yesterday when I caught those back-to-back mirrors,
yeah,
I and you're gonna see in the video like a couple weeks from now, the first one I caught was a partial scaled mirror, and it was only 12 pounds, but I swear it felt like it was like 20 plus the whole way.
yeah.
And then I fell in the water
Oh
because
no,
he lay he moved me into like a brush area. I was like, great, it's snagged now too, and me being like just I me being a risk taker, I was like, I gotta try to save this fish. I'm gonna get this fish no matter what I have to do. And so I start moving down the bank to see if I can move my line on the other side of the brush. Because I'm like, I was pretty sure that would probably the fish would kind of move out then. And
yeah,
then I just slipped on a rock and I just fell halfway in, all recorded on the GoPro. I'm like, great, now I'm all wet.
yeah,
But then I found out it was a mirror once I got close to it. I was like, oh, so this was
yeah,
worth it. I was like,
yeah,
once I saw it was a mirror, I was like, yeah, I don't mind taking another fall again for you.
yeah.
So
We're not like over in England where that's what they have are mirrors. So when we see one, we get excited. I know what you mean. So
that's the thing. Like, a lot of the English people will get mad at me because, well, not they just I think I take pretty good care of my carp, but like
Oh, you take great care of them from what I've seen.
they,
So,
I still get some people are like, why are you fishing that kind of waterway when it's so muddy, like with the tides and
yeah,
stuff like that? And why aren't you using PVA bags to fish for your carp in the rivers? And I always tell them,
yeah,
like, your PVA little system the current's going to break it apart. It's not going to
yeah,
work. You need the
yeah,
method feeder. You need something more durable.
yeah,
I fish like big boy waters. You fish like small boy waters. It's like,
yeah,
I mean, I'm not trying to put any like, not trying to downplay them by any means at all. We learned from the UK essentially how to catch, carp here, but it's different though. Yeah, we have a lot more wild waters here in the US, which
yeah,
is really great. So there's a lot more opportunity. I feel like here.
yeah. And, I think you take great care of them. I use a carp cradle and stuff myself as
Yeah.
well. But the honest truth about carp is they're a pretty tough fish.
Oh, they
I
are. Yeah,
mean,
they're not as fragile as people
yeah,
make them out to be.
yeah, they're
Yeah,
not
their
fragile.
lips. Yeah, yeah. Their lips can be a little bit, but other than that, like they're pretty durable.
Yeah.
They're in structure too. If the fish or if they feed on the bottom, there have to be durable fish because
Yeah. And,
there's a lot of other stuff on the bottom too, like log
oh,
jams, or who knows, probably like car tires and stuff, and metal objects. There's like everything down there, and they probably bump into all that stuff.
oh,
you
yeah. When
know.
you see them spawn, they go crazy. I mean,
Oh
hitting
yeah.
everything around and,
Yeah, it's like a
so
it's like
yeah,
a football, it's like a rugby match when they're,
yeah.
they probably hurt each other more than we hurt them.
Yeah.
So,
Now I have saw. To me, I think the most dangerous thing for any fish, and I kind of hate it when I see even trophy catfish or anything like that, it's where you pick them up by the gills. You know what I
oh
mean?
yeah,
That's
yeah,
terrible. I've seen so many of them, and it's okay, but if they
yeah,
make one move, then it rips that
yeah.
gill plate and they're
It
dead. I
does. Yeah,
mean,
I agree. Yeah, I
you
never do the gills. Like
yeah, I
even
don't like to see
the
that.
catfish, I pull them by the mouth. You know.
Yeah,
So in the carp,
yeah,
you just kind of get underneath of them and hold
yeah,
them, that kind of thing.
yeah, exactly. I've seen people use the same grippers for catfish on the carp lips. And I'm like, man,
Mhm.
that can't be good for it. But I
Yeah.
haven't seen. I'm just talking about seeing it on Facebook, But
Oh, I
I don't
know.
know what it looked like afterwards. But surely that can't be good for a carp's lip.
Yeah, I know.
But
I know. Yeah.
catfish, they got theirs is kind of like a cartilage, and it's pretty tough.
Oh,
So
it's tough, especially the channels. Well, with the bigger fish, they have like little spikes in their gums too. You'll get like your
yeah,
catfish thumb and stuff like that. And
yeah.
with carp, you don't have to worry about any of that, but they do have a really sharp dorsal fin. I've been
Oh
poked
yeah,
a
they
couple.
do.
I've been poked a couple times and bled from their dorsal fins poking at me.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
gosh, yeah, that really got me there.
Oh, me
So
too. Me too. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And it gets caught in the net. Does yours get caught in the net sometimes
Yeah,
too?
it does. It does.
Mm,
And rather than trying to pull the net against its fin, I don't mind just making little cuts in my net with a pair of scissors. That way, it'll just make it a
yeah.
little easier. The net will still be fine. But
I've
yeah,
gotten
you're
pretty good at untangling it. I've learned how to just kind of
yeah,
go down, and I've got pretty good at it. But
yeah.
sometimes there's nothing you can do, but you have to cut the net. You know what I
Do
mean?
you use do you use like European style nets or do you use like a
I
USA
use
made one?
it's a Ranger net, but it's a
Yeah.
knotless net, and it's
Yeah. Here the
made out of
Rangers are really
rubber.
good. Yeah, here the Rangers are
Yeah,
really good. Yeah.
with the rubber, it doesn't happen as often as like is yours a mesh net or is yours made out of the net? Is it made out of a rubber material or is it made out of a
It's a
mesh?
mesh. It's a mesh.
Oh yeah, some of those I've had. Like I had a Ranger that
Yeah.
was mesh, and oh my goodness, I mean,
Yeah.
every time I'd land a
It's
fish, it
soft. It
seemed
doesn't
like
hurt the fish. It's just like when the fish flexes in the net, it's just
yeah,
like, oh great. Now
yeah,
your fin just got caught in the net. But I've told myself when I'm done with this net, however long it will be up next one, I do want to get one of those Ranger nets though, because they don't break nearly as much as the European ones. They're not they kind of break a little bit more often too, I feel like,
Oh, they're
but
easy to break because like the
yeah,
Ranger net, it's made out of probably aluminum or something, or I'm
yeah,
not sure what it is, steel or something. I've had some of the European nets, and well, I take that back. I've had one, and I think I broke it the first time I used it, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to go back to that because
yeah,
that one there, when you get under it, I mean, I've still used them for people, but you
yeah,
kind of about you can't lift, you know what I mean? The front of the net. It's all about scooping and pulling, which I do
yeah,
with the other net too. But if I have to lift the front end of it, my handle's
mhm,
not going to break or anything like
yeah,
that. So,
yeah. And it's kind of hard to. It's kind of yeah. See you soon, Steve. Thanks for coming in, man.
yeah, see you, Smitty.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and if you get one with the rubber, I think you'll really like it because the dorsal fin, it hardly ever gets caught in the rubber
Sure.
compared to the mesh,
Hmm.
but it still happens occasionally. Sometimes you just can't do anything about it.
Yeah, just
Let's see here.
when you're done here, I guess just send me a link of the one you have. I'm just curious, like you know.
Yeah, I'll try to. I don't remember exactly what model I have. What got me is I had the one Ranger net that had the rubber,
Yeah.
and somehow it got a hole in it, right? Like a pretty good hole. And my buddy sold all his stuff, and he had a Ranger net that was the mesh. And it's the
Uh,
knotless one with the small things
yeah,
on it.
right, right.
So I'm like, well, then he wanted to buy his stuff back, and I'm like, well, I kind of want your net now because mine has a hole in it.
Sure. Yeah, right.
and,
Yeah.
and he's like, I'm cool, man. I'll just take yours then. And
Yeah.
so then I took the one with the mesh, which was a terrible idea. I should have kept the one with the hole in it.
Yeah, right,
And
right.
so I bought a new one, and it's like way too big. It's still a great net, but you could fit a washing machine in it. I didn't realize it was
Oh,
twice the
geez.
size.
Yeah. It's almost like a musky net. I know some of those can get
Yeah.
like the length of the actual like net itself can be pretty wide on those, but
Yeah, this is what your brother needs for cat from them 50-pound catfish.
yeah, I know.
So,
I know. I know. I was
um,
like, yeah, you need to get like a wide net, man. I mean, it's make it
yeah,
easier to land those fish.
yeah. So now when I get it, I got to lift it over my head to keep the fish from dragging on the
Yeah.
ground.
Yeah.
But all good though. Let's see here. I think Nick said something about. Let me see if I can go back and find this. He was saying something about the grass carp were right here. He says grass carp are protected in South Carolina. Any wild grass carp has to be
Mm.
released immediately. And Nick, it's kind of like that up here. Sogo, his name's Nick. Up here, any of them that are stocked by the DNR, they have signs, and like private places, they have signs. Those have to go back because they are paid for, and they have a job. But some places they are considered invasive. Up here, even. So you want to check. You don't want to. I wouldn't kill one anyway. I mean, if I catch a grass carp, I'm throwing it back. But
Yeah.
some of them are considered invasive here in Indiana just because of somehow they got started in like the White River, I believe, has a bunch of them in it. Um,
Hmm.
they just got put in there that they were never sterilized or whatever they call it, where they can't breed. So, but I've seen people talk about how they catch a big grass carp and kill it or whatever, and that's a big fine if you're fishing a place where it was stocked in intentionally and you get caught. That's a big fine because grass carp aren't cheap, and they have, I think like a 10 to 15 year lifespan or something like that. So,
Yeah. They get long
um,
too. They get so big. It's just crazy how they
yeah,
can get up to like 80 pounds, and it's just hard for like a common carp to get up to like 40 pounds. It's just,
yeah.
it just, mind boggles, it's like, huh, how, you know, crazy
What's
how
your
that
PB
happens.
grass carp? Is it the
Yeah.
ones in Florida there?
Yeah.
Or?
I didn't even get a weight on it, but probably mid 20s,
Yeah,
mid 20s. Yeah. Yeah. If I want to fish for grass carp here, I have to go to like, I'd have to like know somebody who lives in a, because like a lot of like the grass carp are stocked in the private
yeah.
ponds, keep them clean and stuff like that. I have to like know somebody who who has like an area where they know where they can fish it. But
Oh yeah. I
um,
was real fortunate for a while when I was in my teenage years and early 20s. The lake that's just a few miles from my house. It's not a
mhm.
big lake, but the DNR put a bunch of grass carp in it, and I could go up there and catch 30 pounders all the time.
Oh,
But
nice.
I'm almost 40 now, and out of the
Yeah.
last 5 or 6 years, I've just went there for a little bit. I believe they're all gone because they never stocked any more in.
Uh,
And they
yeah.
have kind of a short lifespan and they can't breed. So,
Right. Right.
but yeah, they're pretty cool fish to catch. Um, I'm trying to think here. Let's see if we got any questions. I know 334 says you can kill a grassy if you're not careful. They are a pretty fragile fish. I do know that they're real they're a real nervous fish once they get out of the water. So just from my experience, anyway. Somebody said your face is awesome. DMV perch pounders. I don't know. I don't know if he's talking to you or me, but I mean, I guess somebody's face is awesome here. So, all right.
That's
You
funny.
know, and Nick said pay lakes are more like UK pay lakes, but the UK has a better reputation, and that's true.
Hmm.
Over in the UK, I guess a lot of their fish are bought or raised
Yeah.
to be in a lake. They have venues like that, and they take really good care of them. Though that's the one thing that like I don't know if you know much about pay laking or not, Jake. Some people hate it, and I get it. I got
Hmm.
started that way when I was about 12, probably.
Sure.
And since then, I've kind of moved. I'll go to one when they're closed, and I'm by myself and don't fish for
Hmm.
money, and just sometimes live stream from a local one here. But I don't really get into it like for many years I haven't
Sure.
got into it. But even then, I try to apply really good carp care. I think that's what makes the difference. Is there's no reason to hurt a fish.
Right.
you
No.
know,
Yeah. Right.
so. Um, and it'd be nice if maybe Pay Lakes would. I don't know. I really don't know what the right thing to do with that situation is. The ones that in my area are actually um, they're caught for food, so they get sold off. If the Pay Lakes didn't buy them, they would actually die and they would be sold for food. So I don't know, if that's a win-win or I really don't know.
Yeah. Haven't had a lot of
Um,
experience with Pay Lakes, but I guess I'm just kind of like I don't like like the Ohio River. Like in Cincinnati where I grew up, a lot of the big blues were taken out of the Ohio River to be
yeah,
put in
that's a
Pay
big
Lakes.
problem. Yeah.
And that's why the Ohio River, especially around the Cincinnati area, northern Kentucky, is not that good anymore. Used to
Yeah,
be really good when I was a kid, really good,
yeah,
and now it's hard to catch like a 30 or 40 pounder out of there.
yeah. That's a
Um,
huge problem in the catfish world because, I mean, you only
yeah,
have so many to go around that are trophy sized fish, and when people are basically stealing the fish and putting them in pay lakes like that, I'm not a fan of that um, at all. Like I said, with the
yeah,
carp, the most of these carp that are coming in, up here are coming from Lake Erie, I think it is, and
hmm,
if they didn't go to a pay lake, I don't know, you know, so they
yeah,
would die either way. But I don't really do it. I don't fish for money myself, so I'm
yeah,
I'm not. I found that there's a lot less drama
yep, for
in the
sure.
wild.
I will say that a carp will probably survive better than a bit like a 60-pound catfish would in a pay lake, just because
Oh yeah, yeah,
those big catfish need like current. They need like a more still environment. But yeah,
yeah. They
still like
all lose weight,
yeah,
and
they all lose weight though. Yeah, it's just
I've heard that with catfish they put in some kind of chemical, maybe that from what I've seen, like on the internet, but I don't believe half the stuff I see on the internet. But I've heard they
yeah,
use like chemicals that make them angry and bite
Yeah.
and put sores on them. So I don't know, but
Right.
I hate to see it. I really do. I hate to see stuff like that where they're,
Mm-hmm.
robbed of
Right.
their natural habitat. And but then again, I guess Jake, if you look at it, some people aren't physically able to go. Maybe that's the only way they can catch a trophy fish too. Maybe
That's
they're
true.
handicapped or something. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah.
I just try to get along with everybody. You know what I mean?
Sure. No, I
I'm
hear it. I'm the
not.
same way. I'm the same way too. I'm not here to like judge
Yeah,
you or whatever it
exactly.
is.
Yeah. Who
It's
am I
just
to
like,
judge? I'll be judged. I can't. I can't judge somebody else. So
yeah, right,
not my
right.
place.
Yeah, exactly.
Wazzy1K says, "What is Top Tactics? Go-to carp bait and fastest way to catch carp? If you got 1 minute
Uh,
to catch a carp, Jake, how do you do it?"
Method feeder pack bait. And then go to bait. Lately for me, it's been I do really well. I even have a video like what my go to bait is. It's like a single piece of tiger nut tipped with a pop up corn. Um, and then I also like using pop up boilies. They're not actual boilies, they're just like a smaller round pop up. And I've been doing really well with those two baits this year so far. Um, yeah, I highly recommend it. If you're looking for a good pop up, get the CC Moore NS1 pop up, 12 to
Okay.
14 millimeter. Um, yeah, I've been, this is like my fourth year really into carp fishing. Every year it's never disappointed. All my bigger fish have really kind of come to those two baits.
Gotcha.
Most
And
fish too, actually. Most fish too, as well. So,
yo, what's up, Danny? How's it going, brother? And let me ask you this, because I'm not a member of the American Carp Society. I am a CAG member.
mhm.
Thinking about converting over to the American Carp
Yeah,
Society. I know you're a member
yeah,
from your videos. So
right.
their bait, do you like those? I know that they have
Yep,
like
I
special
do.
baits for
They
them.
they
So
have they have Astroberry Cream. That was their first bait that they released. The flavors they have Tiger Nuts, Astroberry Cream, and they also have pop ups, boilies, as well as pop up corn. That's all dipped in that Astroberry Cream. So, which is great bait. I've caught carp on it. They just released a new one called Mandela Gold. I'm not sure if Sean talked about that maybe a couple weeks ago about that one, but I haven't purchased it yet. I'm not sure if it's available for members yet, but I heard it was going to be happening very soon.
okay.
Um, so in that one, I'm not sure if it's more of a fruity flavor or nutty flavor, but they do have another flavor now out there, which is good. I do plan on trying that one out too. I actually plan on making a video just using all of their baits and nothing else, just to show people that
Gotcha.
hey, it's a good bait to use. You should get it. Check it out. So they also have. I mean, it's a really good group of. It's a really good community because they really do take good care of their fish. I find I'm just going to be honest with you. I find there's a little bit less drama with them
Yeah.
than with the CAG. Um, they they kind of have their own way of they have their own they're starting to get their own tackle now too, which is kind of
Yeah.
nice. It's kind of its own little like thing they have kind of going. I'm not sure what the price is now for membership. It's probably increased a little bit since I joined a couple years ago, but they have two types of memberships. I think they have like a basic one, and they have like a premium, and the premium kind of gives you more into like they have like maps and stuff like that you can look at
Yeah.
across the United States of um, places you can catch carp and stuff like that. So, but yeah, Wayne and Sean, I think they do in Clayton. That's the other one. They all three of those guys do a really good job. Um, with
Yeah.
spreading carp
Yeah.
awareness
Sean
here.
seemed like a really nice guy. I
Yeah,
liked a lot of the things he had to say as well. So I
yeah.
think we're going to have Kelsey. I can't remember her last name now. Kelsey. I'd have to look it up, but I'm going to have her on for like a woman's perspective on carp fishing. I know she's on the American Carp Society as well. I think Jareth knows her.
Right.
He's in the chat, so he might know her last name. But Kelsey something.
I don't know. I want to.
334. He wanted to
Yeah.
know. He said when you cast, it looks like you're
I
using
don't
the
know what
wrong
you mean.
hand.
I don't know what you mean. So I'm kind of with fishing. I'm actually like I'm like a switch hitter. So like I can do both. So
Okay.
with the spinning reels, I actually I reel in with my left hand, but on the bait casters, I use my right hand.
Okay.
So to be honest with you, I think how that happened is that, when I was younger, maybe like 10 years old, I just happened to get my first spinning rod and just happened to have a left-handed, receiver
Yeah.
on it, reel, and I just kind of got used to it that way. I just never really,
Are you left-handed or right-handed?
right-handed.
Okay. See, I'm
Yeah.
I'm left-handed, but I reel. My spinning setups were always right-hand retrieve, and
Yep.
same with the bait casters I use.
Mm-hmm.
But I know a lot of the lefties like left-hand retrieve stuff, So
Yeah.
Jerry said her
I
name
think
is
I think
Kelsey Combs.
Kelsey Combs. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's see here.
Oh, the new bait was released today. Jared said that. Huh.
Yeah,
Good. Yeah, I have to. Maybe I'll check that out. It's they probably sell out really quickly too. So hopefully it's not
yeah.
sold out yet.
Is it pretty fairly priced stuff or?
Not bad, not bad. Like the Asherberry Tigers, the Tiger Nuts, they like $6.95. They give you a nice decent jar.
Oh yeah,
Nice
that's not
decent
bad.
jar.
Tiger nuts are expensive to buy.
Yep,
Have you ever purchased just the raw tiger nuts?
I haven't. I
They're
haven't.
really
Yeah,
expensive. Over here, you got to look up Shufa nuts if you want to
yeah.
buy them. And
Tiger nuts are really good to use, guys. If you don't use them, I find that um, you don't get a lot of nuisance fish on the tiger nuts. Usually, you'll get a lot of bluegill or turtles will pick on your corn a lot more. You don't see that a lot
yeah,
with the tiger nuts, which is why I like using them mainly too. You still get the catfish, but you won't get the bluegill or the turtles nearly as much with the
yeah,
tigers.
and they're definitely expensive though.
Yeah, they
I
are.
know
They
that.
can be. Yeah, but I'm pretty
Uh,
sure they're like $6 or $7 on their website. So,
yeah.
Jared said when I checked, only 20 millimeter bottom bait boilies were left for the boilies. Didn't check. Okay, I'll have to
Wow.
check on that. Thanks, man. Thanks, Jared.
Yeah, so they sell out pretty quick. Have you ever used any I guess carp specific flavors like
I like
you
using
know
in the colder months. I like using nuttier flavors. So like I have a really good banana nut flavor that I use during the now with the nutty flavors, they're good all year round, but typically just in the colder months, I don't find I have as much success on the fruity flavors as with the nutty flavors in like
yeah,
colder months. So,
yeah,
like there's a banana nut one that I use in the fall and winter. There's also a kind of like a maple kind of flavored one as well.
yeah.
That was actually
Well,
like it was actually a prototype bait that Linear
okay.
Bait was using at one point, but they're no longer active now. So I can say that the
Yeah.
prototype flavor that I was testing out was actually a maple kind of
Okay.
nutty flavor, and it was actually really good too. Yeah,
Um, well, I
yeah,
know like in your pack baits you use like Jello and stuff like that.
yep,
I mean, have you
yep.
ever used anything like R&W or One On or My Brand Get Bent?
Yeah, I mean, you sent me some stuff that I used. I know you
Well,
sent
no,
me
I mean,
like,
I was talking about just the flavors in general. Like
oh,
they come in a bottle. I don't have one with me, but it's a super highly concentrated bottle of flavor. If you put like 2 ounces in your pack bait.
gotcha. Yeah, not
Um,
really, not really. I just kind of stick to like the flavors that's in the pack bait.
okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I've always wondered about doing that though, because I usually just kind of stick to the same pack bait, but I've always thought about like, yeah, it'd be good just to try like some different ones too, because then
Yeah.
you can kind of then I can have a rod with this kind of pack bait, and then my other rod with
Yeah.
this pack bait. Which one are the carp gonna? What are they in the mood
Well,
for?
I'll tell you, I use millet a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and millet is a really good bait. I know, especially if you're looking to get that koi still. koi,
I think you sent me that one actually.
goldfish.
Yeah, you sent me that one.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, they love millet. I mean, absolutely love
Huh.
it. Grass, of course, they all do. I mean, I catch mirrors, commons, all that stuff on
Sure.
it. They go nuts over it. Now, it's not like a high in protein bait, but it's okay to use in rivers and lakes because it's kind of like a snack for them. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's something they
Sure.
eat, and when it comes back out, it comes back out as millet. So, kind of
Yeah.
like corn. Corn's not really a really a healthy bait for carp because
Right.
when they eat corn, it comes back out as corn, just like
Yeah.
with
Right.
people.
Yeah.
So,
They don't. Yeah. I
yeah,
don't think carp are missing like a vital organ that most other fishes or animals have. I think they
okay,
don't have like a large or small intestine or something, or
really,
yeah, like I was reading something a couple years ago where I had something like that. But I think that's why they can probably
yeah,
eat so much in a quick amount of time, is that they're just it's kind of bypassing some of like the typical stuff that, other fish would
yeah.
probably have. But oh yeah, no stomach. Yeah, they said they have no stomach. Yeah.
Wow, yeah. See, I learn something new every day, man. I had no
Yeah.
idea.
That's
So,
probably why they just feed like crazy at times and can
I
just,
think what
you
would
know,
be really cool. Have you ever used filled corn and then boiled it or pressure cooked it or anything
yeah.
like that?
hmm Yeah, for my pre-baiting,
Um,
I'll do that. Yeah.
I used to use it years ago, but I've kind of done some testing where you throw it in water and they say it swells up and stuff like that in a carp's stomach. Um, I would love to see a real test on that to know. I
Yeah.
actually I don't believe it personally.
hmm
I
Yeah.
know Catfish and Carp. He did a thing on it, and where he said he didn't believe it either. But I haven't noticed where it swells up just by
Yeah.
being in the water to where it could do anything. And I've heard that carp have like some type of crusher, that they use to like crush
hmm
different things too for like
Yeah.
mussels and stuff like that. So I'm curious. I mean, I would like to know if that's a myth you know, or what. But I know a lot of people believe that it can hurt the fish.
Hmm.
I don't typically use corn anymore, but
Yeah.
back in the day, I used to pressure cook it and throw it out. But it would be
Right.
an interesting experiment if somebody could do it
Sure.
the appropriate way to find out. Jared says he bought some pre-made millet for me, and he said he caught
hmm
his best buffalo of the year on it. Yeah, buffs like it
Gosh.
too.
That's the one thing we don't
They
have
sure
in my
do.
area is buffalo. Hmm.
I feel you. We don't have many up
Yeah.
here either.
Yeah. That's the one thing I wish
Um,
that's a bucket list fish for me now. I have to like I know some guys that live down in Texas that that's the place you want to go to get some good buffaloes. Like I think
when
it's
are
like
we
the
going? That's all I'm saying.
yeah.
Texas, it is.
And we'll catch some alligator gar while we're down there too.
Everything's better in Texas. It looks
Yeah,
like.
I know. I know.
Their
Yeah.
buff fishing is insane. They got what
Yeah.
60, 70 pounders down there. I mean,
Got some
that's
monsters down there. They got
that's
some
my
tanks.
bucket list too. So yeah,
Yeah.
carp, common carp are big. Uh,
hmm
let's see here. Somebody asked, what is different between boilies and tiger nuts? Totally different.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
you can explain if you want later, but
So probably the easiest way to like tell somebody is that boilie is it's it's almost like it's a little bit bigger than a marble, a little bit bigger than a marble. It's like round marble size, like that size. It's kind of like a dough ball essentially. You can actually crush it with your hand hard enough. Where the tiger nut, you will not be able to do that. It almost is like the texture of like a hardened peanut, but they're the size of about a piece of corn, if that kind of makes sense. But totally different. I personally like the tiger nuts better. I just find they're a little more durable than the boilies. But unless
yeah,
Josh, if you have anything else to add, but I mean, their boilies are typically bigger than the tiger nuts.
yeah, yeah. I mean, a tiger nut, that's like something natural that it's
Yeah.
really called a shufa nut over here, but that's a particle that's grown where a boilie is something that's handmade with,
Mhm.
eggs and flour basically and stuff like that.
Bunch
Um,
of ingredients in there.
some boilies are really high in protein. I think tiger nuts are supposed to be high in protein, but I'm not sure on that one. He wants to know if you boil your tiger nuts. I hope so. Well, you probably buy them already done.
Yeah, I actually buy I don't make my tiger nuts. I don't make my bait. Only reason why is because I have like 3 young kids in the house and we live in a small house. I'm just afraid, the pan will go over or something. But yeah, luckily I still use some of the linear bait products, even though they're out of business. But I still have a lot of my leftover bait, and like as long as you refrigerate your tiger nuts, they can last a pretty long time.
Yeah.
So especially the tiger nuts, like I'm going over a year using them, and I'm still catching fish on them. So
Yeah. I know if have you seen one that wasn't prepped yet where it wasn't boiled or anything like that?
no,
Oh God, yeah. There's no way you could use it as far as putting
yeah,
it on the air rig. It's
sure,
like concrete. So
right.
yeah, yeah, for sure, Jareth. If you're looking to use some, you'll have to boil them, or I like to pressure cook them because it's done in half the time, not even half the time. So
Yeah, pressure cookers are
everything's better
yeah,
in the pressure
those are
cooker
nice. Those are good.
for sure. Well, Jake, I won't hold you up any longer, brother. I appreciate you coming in. I know it's
No
almost 9:30
problem.
now, so
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, man. And if you want to do this again, just let me know. I'll be happy to hop on here. You should have my brother come in. I'll have him pay you a visit.
he's interested. I would love to have him. I haven't reached out to him. I know a lot of people when they get bigger channels,
Yeah, I know.
they're not
Yeah.
interested. So.
Yeah, Joe is a big channel, but he's still human. So
We had Dieter Melhorn on the other day,
yeah,
and you
Dieter.
know
Yeah.
who Dieter is. Oh man, he's a great
Hmm.
guy too. So,
Yeah.
and we
He has
have
some pretty good. He has some pretty good quality videos out there too. He does a really good job with his editing and everything with his videos. And I think, and yeah, I know you had River Certified. That was
coming up
last week.
Friday. No, he's coming
Yeah.
up this
Oh,
Friday.
this is this Friday. That's what it is. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he has a pretty big channel too.
yeah, he
So
does.
he's not bad, not bad.
But yeah, I mean, if your brother ever wanted to come on, I would definitely love to have him on. I know he's not. He's in Tennessee.
Oh, I
I'm trying
got
to
you.
get.
Yeah, there's DJ Sazar 98. So my video that just came out, he's the friend I was fishing with.
Oh, awesome,
So
awesome.
I'm glad that he was able to hop in on here.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
what's
But yeah,
up,
I'm talking
DJ?
to my uncle, his PB Catfish, and I was looking at maybe going like a charter way to do it because his biggest catfish is like 15 pounds.
Whose is
So
this?
my uncle,
Oh, your uncle.
and,
Okay.
yeah, and he's getting up there now. He's like 70
Yeah.
something years old. So
Right.
I'm
Right.
trying to figure out a way to get him his PB Catfish. So
Sure.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, looking at maybe a charter. Your brother might be good for that. I was thinking about
Oh
going.
yeah, Joe will put you on some fish for sure. He always has people. He's always getting at least people like 30-pound fish on his boat.
Yeah,
So
I was
yeah,
trying to talk him into. I think Dieter is North Carolina or something like that.
yeah, is somewhere around there, like Lake Wiley maybe or something. Or
Yeah, I was trying to talk my uncle into that, but I think it was a little bit too far of a drive for him to want to go down.
gotcha,
Tennessee's only probably Del
not too
Hollow
far.
5 hours from me, so that's not too bad.
Yeah, we'll have to go there sometime. Yeah, it's definitely on my places to visit. Dale Hollow. I think
You
every carp fisherman, that's like their one place they want to go to. You'll catch like a 30-pound mirror. The only see, I kind of have this thing that like I'm not really big into pre-baiting anymore like I used to be because
I'm not either. So
I mean in rivers and wild and like rivers the carp are going to move regardless. You just have to find them.
yeah,
So like I mean the pre-baiting can maybe help a little bit, but in general they're just going to move around a lot.
yeah,
Especially if you have like a river that has some current or if it rains a lot and then the river's flooded, of course those carp are going to move out, because they're trying to find more still water.
yeah,
So I find the chumming comes in handy more with like lakes, big reservoirs, places like Dale Hollow because
Oh yeah, yeah.
it's still water essentially. I mean, in the reservoirs, once you find where they're at, you can just keep them there with the pre-baiting.
I went to Del Hollow for the first time last year, and I was there for a family thing.
Yeah.
I only fished probably maybe 8 or 10 hours on 2 different days, and I did no pre-baiting. And I don't know, we probably landed maybe 10 carp. You
Uh-huh.
know, caught some pretty mirrors, but I lost at least that many because the weeds
Yeah.
were so bad at the
Yeah.
time of year that we went. But there was people there that had been there for, you know, over a week. I think the one guys were there for a couple weeks and they pre-baited a lot. And they were
Hmm.
real surprised. They're like, "Wow, I can't believe you got that we got on fish um,
Yeah.
because we didn't pre-bait." But
Right.
but if you throw enough pack bait out there
Oh
over a few
yeah.
hours,
Yeah.
you're pre-baiting that hole pretty good.
Yeah, and 334 outdoors kind of hit it on the head too. If you fish enough, if you
Yeah,
fish enough in one spot, you pretty much are because you're just all that pack bait you're throwing out there. That's enough to you know. So
Jared said he's trying to go in September. Jared, make sure my birthday's in September, brother. Take
actually,
me.
mine too. Mine's the 15th.
Oh, I'm 26th. So, Jared, take us.
I know, right?
Rent the house on the lake, man. Hit us
Yeah,
up. Rent that
man.
house.
And you can actually rent like boats there and stuff where you can actually set up your
Yeah,
pod from like a big boat and stuff like that. I've seen people
yeah.
do it. So
There's a house.
awesome.
There's only one house on the water. It's kind of expensive. I'm trying to get something done with it for maybe fall where I can go down there. But that would be really cool. Do you know who Sammy? I guess Sammy Bassino or something like that. He did a video on YouTube where he fished from that house. He probably don't
Okay.
want people to know that, but I mean,
Yeah.
the only house on the water, Sammy. So,
Yeah. Right.
but but anyway, it was pretty awesome. He caught a bunch of 20, 30
Nice.
pounds.
Awesome.
They got some pretty mirrors and stuff. So I'm trying to get that hooked up for fall, but we'll see.
And
If that
Jared, his
happens.
birthday's the 13th. So yeah, we all got September birthdays. We're
Yeah,
all set.
yeah. I mean, I'm ready to go tomorrow. So,
Yeah, I know, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. But brother, like I said, I appreciate you coming on. If you
Yeah,
want to
man.
wait backstage for a minute, I'll end the stream and I'll come back and talk to you for just a minute, man, if you don't mind.
Sure. No problem.
All right, man. Hey, I appreciate you, and I'll see you in just a minute.
Yep.
All right, guys. Hey, we appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you guys check his channel out. There is a link in the video description. Plus, I pinned a comment here. Appreciate each and every one of you watching tonight, and we'll catch you on the next one. Don't forget, Friday, we have Spencer from River Certified coming on, so check that one out too, guys. We'll see you on the next one.